Yo, what's good all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Man City and unfortunately the dominance that they've had in the Premier League. As a Manchester United fan, it pains me to say it, but they've literally done the three-peat, which is 3 league titles in a row, a record which Manchester United had. Then they've done the treble, and they've done it very convincingly, another record which Manchester United had, and they've smashed it to pieces. I wouldn't be surprised this season if they did the Invincibles or broke another record, something like that. They've done the Centurions as well. Unfortunately, they've turned the Premier League into a farmers league, and that does not bode well for any other team in the Premier League. So we've seen them in the last game week play against Nottingham Forest, and in that game, in the first half, I think they had 77% possession, which is absolutely insane. I know it's only against Nottingham Forest, but it's still a Premier League team, and to have 77% possession is absolutely insane. Rodri goes ahead and gets a red card at about the 46th minute, and you got a feeling the manager's going to say to the Nottingham Forest players at halftime, even though it's 2-0 to Man City at home, you know, we can get back into it. They've got 10 men. All we need is 1 goal and we'll see what happens. Manchester City really go the whole of the second half without sort of any trouble. In the second half, Nottingham Forest only have 3 shots on target, but Man City managed to shut them out, finished the game with 57% possession, which basically, playing against 10 men for an entire half is absolutely disgraceful from Nottingham Forest. You know, if the game went on for another 45 minutes, I really don't see Nottingham Forest scoring. So they finished the game so comfortably, 10 men, oh well. They go play with 10 men, get 57% possession, keep Nottingham Forest to about 0.87 XG, which is under 1 goal a game, and they finish the game. So the crux of this video is, how do we stop Man City? I say we because this is becoming a wider problem for the whole of the Premier League, and any of the supporters, basically, they're going to steamroll everyone and flatten anyone that gets in their path. So method number 1 of how they can be stopped, which is sort of the conventional method, is the other teams in the Premier League spending as much as Man City and trying to compete. So it goes without saying, obviously, Man City are a very rich club, and to compete with them in the transfer market, you have to spend millions, probably billions of pounds, and try to sort of narrow the skill gap between them and other teams. At the moment, I think only a few teams can do that. Maybe Newcastle with their Saudi ownership. I think the owners of Newcastle are, I think I've seen a mad stat, like 40 times more richer than the owners of Man City. But obviously financial fair play comes into that, which we'll tap into later. But Newcastle will eventually be able to get the players that they want, the marquee signings, you know, the world-class players. At the moment, they haven't been able to do that, but teams like Newcastle are able to spend that much in the future. If Manchester United were bought by the Qatari proposed ownership, I think his name is Sheikh Jassim Al Thani, obviously Manchester United would then be able to compete, and they have a much higher ceiling of what they are able to spend because of the revenue that they bring in terms of financial fair play, compared to teams like Newcastle. So further ownership in the league by wealthy people could narrow the gap as well, but it's not looking good because other teams have to oblige by financial fair play, and I don't know how Man City were able to get away with it, spending as much as they have. But guys, it goes without saying that just because you've got a lot of money, it doesn't mean that you'll be able to compete. Obviously, you have to make good signings, not only in terms of players, but recruitment teams, scouting networks, managers, specialists such as football directors and for technical directors and people like that. So an example we can use is Chelsea. Todd Bowley's come in, spent 1 billion in 12 months, and they've arguably become worse than what they were. You can't just spend tons of money and expect to narrow the gap. You have to have specialists in place. So the second point which I want to talk about, and the way that Man City can be stopped, is I feel really sad, and it is sad that I have to say this and hope that they get done by it, but hopefully the 115 allegations against Man City sort of come to fruition and they get done by it. So I'm not sort of counting my chickens when it comes to these allegations. It's taken a very, very long time for anything to even come out about these allegations. I think they were sort of brought to the public about a year ago and we still have no news on it. How long does it take to get these fucking allegations put against Man City? It's factual, isn't it? If they've broken financial fair play or sort of signed people incorrectly or cooked the books or whatever, how long does it take to convict them of these allegations? Let me give an example of what I've heard. And this isn't factual, it's just what I've heard, right? Man City were apparently cooking the books and stating that they were getting more money from sponsorships than they were, which means that they are showing greater revenue, and in no uncertain terms means that they are able to spend more money because they have a greater gap in terms of financial fair play revenue against what they're spending. And if you are FA, UEFA, all these organizations, can you not tell them, here is the allegation, here is what you need to provide us with, and here is when you need to provide us it by? Like, how long does it take for 115 allegations to sort of use them and convict them of the allegation? I don't know, it's just all a mess in my head. You'd think in the ideal world them to get done very quickly because it's all factual. You've either been cooking the books, you've either messed up in terms of revenue and whatever else, and you're guilty. So guys, the final point is basically the organisations, UEFA, FA, need to get Man City done of these allegations if they are found guilty. Now, I don't have much faith in UEFA and FA because, you know, there's corruption in FIFA, they were paid off, that sort of stuff. I don't know how likely UEFA are to do the same thing. The FA, can money be splashed and will they get fines or will they get points deductions, all this nonsense. So there's many ways that they can be convicted, but I'm not really counting my chickens. I'm not really hopeful that they will get done. But you have to think 115 allegations against them, even if they're done for 50% of them, these organizations like UEFA, FA have to make an example of them. And I don't know the way that they're going to do it. Is it going to be points deductions? Is it going to be fines? Which, you know, if you fine Man City, you're basically penalising them for something they have too much of already. So let's say you fine them 10 million for breaching 50% of the allegations, which is something like 57 or something like that allegations. If you fine them, they've already got too much money. That's why they're in trouble in the first place. So you're sort of penalising them for something they can't afford to get out of anyway. The punishment isn't retrospective of the breaches that they've made. So in my opinion, they need stripping of titles, potentially, deduction of points. You know, that's the only way these other teams in the Premier League can compete with them. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, this dominance that they've had had it because of the players on the pitch. It's not their fault. They've won it fair and square. The financials are sort of behind the scenes, the back end. How is it the fault of the players? But if you think of it in layman's terms, would they have been able to afford the players and be in the power position that they are if it wasn't for their breaches? They've spent too much money and they've become powerful. So the players on the pitch maybe shouldn't be there if they spent the way that they should have, which means that they shouldn't be in the position that they're in. It's just absolutely crazy that they are in this power play position. They're absolutely steamrolling this league. I can't see any team that's going to beat them, home or away. They've got Rodri red carded, big wow. They're just going to play Nunez in centre mid. They've got, if they get a centre back injured, Ruben Diaz, let's say, they got Guardiola, they got Ake, they got all these other, they've got basically world-class players in every single position on the pitch. I don't know how they can be hindered. As I said at the start of the video, they could potentially go and do another three-peat in a row. They could do another treble this year. They could go invincible and take that. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if they did the Invincibles and took that record off Arsenal as well. So guys, that leads me to the final and last point of how Man City can be stopped. And it's sad to say this, but Pep, if he left the club, a world-class manager being at that club, the position that they're in that they spent so much money and became powerful on the pitch, they've also got the tactics and the knowledge to back it. So if Pep left Man City just as Sir Alex Ferguson left Man United and they were on the decline, I cannot see Man City maintaining their position. I also believe that they'll be on the decline. It may not happen straight away. A manager may be able to come and steady the ship. Maybe they start declining slowly, but someone like Pep leaving the club is going to leave a massive dent on Man City. And unfortunately, I can't believe that I'm saying this, waiting for a manager to leave their club for the playing field to be leveled is so sad, but it's a method. It's a way that Man City could be on the decline and they sort of fall from grace. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of this video. If you like it, please do go ahead and drop a like on the video. Also, do not forget to subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you agree with some of the stuff that I'm talking about in terms of the dominance and how they can be stopped. All of this is unorthodox. All these stats and stuff that I've talked about the Nottingham Forest game, they're all off the top of my head. I've basically done a bit of research, but I've got no script that I talk off. It's all unorthodox. It's all off the cuff. So guys, I hope you appreciate the video. I'm going to be doing many of these going forward. Hopefully a Chelsea one coming out and a Manchester United one coming out, how they're basically a broken club. Guys, I will catch you in the next one. Take care of yourself. Peace out.